First of all, I would like to mention that these latest elections, from my perspective, was a revolutionary one. I was expecting a downfall in the capital city of Ankara, but I was not expecting such a secular CHP, Republican People's Party victory in the city of Istanbul. Personally, I was there and I got an impression that the Justice and Development Party uh, would have succeeded there. But the outcomes surprised not only me, but many people in Turkey. And I guess even the candidate himself, İmamoğlu, was also surprised, in my opinion. According to the Turkish political history, we all know that whoever is going to win the elections in Ankara and in Istanbul supposed to also gain control of the country in the general elections. So it's a very core indicator for the Turkish politics. In this regard, I guess the alarm bells rang for Mr. Erdogan, and that's why I guess he needs to basically ask himself what has he done wrong. And in this regard, we may say that the Turkish economy, the deteriorating Turkish economy, played a very crucial role in this matter. In order to prevent such a defeat, Mr. Erdogan attempted to take some precautional movements, like he gave orders to the municipalities to arrange some cheap markets, for selling vegetables and fruits, so that the ordinary Turkish citizens would not have been badly affected from this inflation. But when the ordinary Turkish citizen began to see the huge queues and the growing poverty in the Turkish cities, as far as I understand, they wanted to send a very clear message to Mr. Erdogan that he has to mend the situation in the economy. And of course, when we are speaking about the economy, of course, I would like to remind you what has happened last year in August, when Mr. Erdogan engaged in a war of tweets with US President Donald Trump for not releasing Pastor Brunson. And now, after the elections, again, we are nowadays witnessing again a very tense situation between the United States and Turkey. While Turkey would like to buy the Russian S-400 missile systems, US is making it very much clear that Turkey cannot this time dance at two weddings at the same time, meaning it cannot acquire F-35s and at the same time S-400s. And of course, the American warnings will be supported by new economic and military sanctions, which will gravely influence the Turkish lira vis-a-vis dollar, and again, it will influence very badly the Turkish consumer, the Turkish citizen. So, if not in the short term, but in the long term, the Turkish administration should come to a new junction, and then they have to ask themselves whether to go with the United States and the West, or to choose between, or to choose its historical nemesis, the Russians. So it is. I must admit that it is not a easy decision. But when we are looking on this particular matter, I can tell you that Mr. Erdogan, as far as I understand, sees himself a lot closer to Vladimir Putin than Donald Trump, since he is not accused or he is not criticized on the basis of democracy or human rights for the elections and other matters. And that's why, we are saying that these elections were municipal elections, but from my perspective, it was a lot beyond than that. That's why it was very much crucial, and that's why Erdogan is still not internalizing the results of these elections, as we see that his party already submitted objections to the results of these elections, and we're going to see whether if they are going to accept it or not. Ironically, this defeat may also serve Mr. Erdogan's reputation in the Western world. We all know that the Western leaders, Western politicians, especially the European Parliament, is criticizing Mr. Erdogan's authoritarian attitude. And some of the politicians are even calling him as a dictator. So he may come and tell, look, if I was a dictator, then how come that I lost this election? So it may, if he will be wise enough, he may even use this this election defeat for his popularity and for his legitimacy, both at home and also abroad.